real quick. But I'll bring him in a second, guys. Essentially, yes. That's what happened right now, guys. Jamie Sparling. Let's give him his victory speech because he tied things up at 1, which means he's going to send this series into a decisive third matchup next Saturday, August the 14th, the final night of round number 1.
The guy just doesn't belong here. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. And you know what? I just want to thank everybody who voted, and I'm taking him next week. This is done. He's gone.
You better.
Yes. Pete.
Let's bring in David Holiday. Let's not bring in David Holiday just yet, because I see the GOC moving. I see the GOC moving in the back. But David Holiday, guys and gals, is either lost his mind or embracing the darkness. I don't want to speak for him. He'll speak. Nah, man, Taekwon, you're commenting, but you already lost tonight. You will not be the first person to sweep an opponent. It's tied up at 1. The GOC is in the house. Well, is he? I don't really see him, but someone sent me a text, an anonymous text, telling me that he's up and about. I don't see him. I still see this. What the hell? It's that same Battle Axe.
What the hell was that?
There are a few things that shock me. But if either of these two gentlemen make it out alive next Saturday, and I'm talking about the GOC and Pinocchio Joe, that will shock me to my very core. Stephen Lee, we were supposed to bring you in today. We're running a little bit late. I want to hear what you have to say to Pete, Stephen. I think you want to talk to Pete next week. And we're going to make sure we do that, Stephen Lee. But this has been one heck of a show, and we have an outro video to play. But David Holiday has something to say, so I'm going to bring in David Holiday after the outro video. He can actually close this thing out with some of his thoughts. Pete from Sharpie, anything you'd like to say?
I got no words. Oh, what? No. I'm just going to get more frustrated.
So it's come down to this. One more night. August 14th. Round 1 will come to an end after 3.5 months. I'm looking forward to it. I know you are. What happens at the very end of this is not on me. It's on all of you. You asked for it. You got it. Guys and gals, whether you choose to stand up and applaud, whether you choose to buckle up for safety, you have to admit that round 1 has left you in a state of awe, as we've seen shocks, twists, turns, surprises, horror, comedy, action, drama. We've seen it all. But now, round number 1 will reach its conclusion. On the next episode of the Green Rooms Tournament of 64, round number 1 will officially end with night number 14 on August the 14th, 2021. We've seen it all. We've seen mystery entrants. We've seen surprises. We know that round 2 will feature more mystery entrants that are surprises as well. So buckle up, as round 2 is upon us. We still have some unfinished business in round number 1. There are those who are dying for that last spot as the door closes in on them, as they try to squeak into round number 2. There are very few spots remaining, as this Dark Castle is merciless. We've seen it all. Action, horror, comedy, drama. This green room has given us all thrills and chills, suspense, and now it all comes down to this. There are certain matchups yet to be determined, one of which is the Taekwon Jamie Sparling matchup. A matchup that featured a fan, a super fan of the WWAB, who found himself via blackmail in this tournament. He's up against a competitor named Jamie Sparling, who knows what it's like to taste defeat. He has been eliminated once before in this first round, and now in this battle of the eliminated, he finds himself with an opportunity to make things right and move on to round number 2. He faces a man who's oblivious to what this green room is, a man who may actually have that oblivious nature be his calling card. Maybe this oblivious nature of what this thing is all about is actually an asset, not a detriment to Taekwon, because he has no idea what's coming up if he does defeat Jamie Sparling. We will know on August 14th. We also know that Pinocchio Joe and the GOC essentially will be facing each other for the 7th time, as they are still deadlocked at 1. Poison, burials, attacks, shootouts, family. There has been nothing that has been deemed out of bounds for these two men, as it's merely a time where two people have met circumstantially with one goal in mind. Will they take each other out? Will there be anything left? Will either of these two men move on to round number 2? Because it has become more than just victory. Even though they know that the green room is an opportunity of a lifetime, they also know that they have to eliminate one another. They have to go to the darkest place imaginable in order to survive and thrive and move on to the second round. One will emerge while the other will be defeated on August the 14th. We also know that Mindy the Music Man, a man who represents the darkness, a man who epitomizes the darkness, a man who turned the music lady, once Mindy's ally, against her. Mindy must find the light and somehow vanquish this opponent of hers. For if she is to move on to round number 2, the darling of Texas has to make sure that the light is ever present and the music man does not leave her in her wake. We also know that there's still another matchup yet to be determined between a man who served our country, Eric Herring. Eric Herring, who's done our country proud, can do us proud as well by defeating Hauser Odalak, an enigma, a person who came out of nowhere, a person that somehow has tied up his series with Eric Herring 1-1, despite there being physical challenges on display. Eric Herring knows what it's like to defeat opponents. He knows what it's like to play mind games. He also knows what it's like to compete on a battleground, because he was on a legitimate battleground on soil that protected us on our soil. Because that's what Eric Herring is, a true hero, and he can remain a true hero by standing tall and being victorious and defeating Hauser Odalak once and for all on August the 14th. Will that happen? We do not know. Hauser Odalak has proven to be a man that we cannot take for granted. A man that somehow has tied his series up, and now it comes down to one final showdown between these two. And speaking of final showdowns, Michael Winslow, a man who recently was on America's Got Talent, a man who is a legend in the world of film and television, known for being quite the performer on the Police Academy series, Police Academy the movie franchise, the animated cartoon, and of course, a man who is great on Spaceballs as well. We know that his resume speaks for itself. We also know that he's quite the stand-up comedian, improv performer, and these challenges speak well to him. He wants to vanquish Andrew Cassese, known to us as Wormser from Revenge of the Words 1 and 2. Andrew Cassese can tie the series up at 1. Andrew Cassese may also win by defeating Michael Winslow, because they'll be up against one another twice on August the 14th, not once. And we know that this will be a tall task for Andrew, because Michael Winslow has challenges that speak to him very well. And maybe that's an advantage, maybe it's not. But time will tell whether one of these will move on to round number 2. One of these men who knows what it's like to have the honor and prestige of running this dark castle, they will meet on August the 14th. And guys and gals, we also know that it's come down to this for the Green Room Original. Howard Collado, Sharon, and Jarrell. 3 individuals who are quite different, but they have the same intent, the same goal, which is to run the Green Room. Jarrell told the world that he and Avi go way back, and they had a dream that was never fulfilled as a unit, because Jarrell has a bit of bitterness in his mouth, as he knows that he should be the one that should be considered a Green Room Original. And Coach Sharon, someone who is a friend of Avi Klein's, someone who knows what it's like to compete, someone who tried to bring the best, not the worst, out of Howard Collado, is here as well. And of course, Howard Collado, the man who calls himself a Green Room Original, knows what it's like. He's been resilient. He's had a multitude of different opponents, but now it comes down to one final matchup. Will Howard Collado finally move on to round number 2, or will Jarrell or Coach Sharon take their rightful ownership and be able to succeed and thrive and move on to this second round? Guys and gals, I can tell you that I've been exhausted, depleted, but also excited, because I've never witnessed anything like the first round in this tournament of 64. And I know that night number 1 will end with a bang. So don't you dare miss the finale of round number 1 as we bring to you night number 14, the first round of the tournament of 64, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on August the 14th. Don't miss a second.
People, it's happening. The Green Room. People are disappearing. People are doing things they didn't expect that they would do. You know, I have people come to me and ask me exactly, what is this Green Room? The truth is, there's no words to really describe it. But I can tell you one thing.